To you and welcome to your favorite station. This is Voice of the People 96.1, and of course we'll start with a statement credited to the federal government where it has been said that Gumi might be or won't be arrested, and of course they've condemned some of the statements he has made since the kidnap of the Kaduna students.
All right, let's listen to what he had to say.
Tinubu is determined to end these elements and ensuring that our President Bola Tinubu is determined to end this cycle of payment of ransom to kidnappers. Government believes that this continues to encourage these kidnappers, these criminal elements to perpetrate this act within the Nigerian nation. The security agencies are also upping their game and evolving new strategies of getting at these criminal elements and ensuring that our children or anybody who is kidnapped for that matter is taken out in safety. Government will not stop at anything to get any kind of information that it requires to solve our problems. The security agencies are up and doing. Gumi or any other individual for that matter is not above the law. If he has suggestions that are constructive enough for the security agencies to take, they will take. But if they think that he is also making some statements that appear to be reckless, he will also be reprimanded. There is nobody that is above the law in this regard. And I'm aware, and let me put it here, and I'm aware that he has been also a guest of the security agencies to answer questions. When you make remarks, especially remarks that bother on our national security, it is incumbent on the security agencies to dig further into that. And they are doing just that.
Okay, so you've heard it. Anyway, we won't talk much on that particular subject now. Probably when El-Rufai joins us, as well as Larry Ogwego, will actually shed more light on that particular subject matter.
All right, so there's a story here. The governor of Kaduna State received the abducted students, the abductees. He received them yesterday, and he made a statement during that particular visit. Let's listen to that.
To come and see the rescued children of the local authority, local education authority, and government secondary school, Kuriga, both co-located in Chukun local government area of Kaduna State. The unfortunate incident that led to the abduction of these children took place on the 7th of March, 2024. And as a result of the making 100
connection with our state, who have no connection with the families, have gone to the media with figures that we feel is just a figment of their own imagination. But today I'm happy. What is more important is that the children are back home.
All right, well, that was the voice of the governor of Kaduna State receiving the freed students from Kuriga community. Well, it's a sad one that he had to meet these kids on this particular platform on the basis of an abduction. It's a really, really sad situation to meet your governor on that particular note.
I actually watched this visit, or the students visiting the governor at the government house yesterday. I watched it on NTA International because it was live streamed. So many questions crossed my mind as regards that particular development. And part of the question that crossed my mind sincerely was, why are they televising this? It is necessary. Now we know that the students have been released. We've seen pictures, we've seen a couple of videos. But why televise the faces of the students in the first place? Most of them are young children, they're minors. And considering the situation they were put in, I don't think their faces should be shown to the public at any time for people to identify who these children are. And another question I get to ask is, when you give students who have been abducted and released this kind of welcome to a point that they are being televised nationally, it begs to ask the question, what will go through the mind of this bandits who kidnapped them in the first place? Because definitely they are aware. Most of the things they have knowledge of, they hear it from the newspaper, they hear it on radio and also on TV. So now the kidnappers will be like, oh, so government can be engaged, and then giving them the morale to want to do more, because if
Exactly.
government can be involved in this, and they're even giving them heroes welcoming them to the government house, let's find a bigger target than what we have.
Have.
It's really pathetic.
Well, there was a Commodore Kunle Olaomi on the news yesterday, who was a former commandant of Defense Intelligence College, Abuja, and he made a statement. He said that the federal government is always making the mistake of trying to appease, that the federal government, right, no governor in Nigeria, apart from Zulum, will understand their role as a governor in Nigeria, that they don't know why they are the chief security officer of their state. Well, let's take a listen to what he had to say.
All of them.
All the governors in the south, even Doe Diri and all of that.
I think the only person I can trust in this country is Zulum of Borno State. I don't want to talk about those governors. They don't even know why they are the chief security officer of a state. They don't even know. What the judge do is to share money and do things, so I don't want to talk about them.
You don't trust their competence or their capacity. Let's get it right.
Both. They're not competent, and when you're not competent, you don't have capacity. Mention of them that has capacity or that is competent, or that is there because of the interests of the people that is there to govern. Mention one. I've mentioned Zulum. So let's talk about them. Let's look at the issue of Delta. You have the job.
All right. Well, that is in regards to the chief security officer of your state status of the governors that we have in Nigeria, because we're seeing more and more incessant kidnappings in different parts. I mean, it's a very serious situation that we're finding ourselves in at the moment, and you have to wonder: do these governors even know about the priority, the level of responsibility on their heads? Are they even aware at this point? Those are the questions that we'll begin to ask. But let's take a break. We'll be rejoining Rufai in a moment. Let's take a break. We'll be back in just a moment.
We bring you all the big stories and what's behind them. Politics, business, sports, news, all on VOP 96.1 FM. Now you have a voice. It's thrilling, controversial, heated, thought-provoking. Catch Rufai Oseni.
Came here to misrepresent the facts today as regards subsidy removal.
Kesire Aqua.
Report was that $9 billion is lost yearly to illegal mining.
And Simeon Sunday.
If you know something of this nature is happening within your community, why didn't you raise an alarm?
On the Front Page Review, weekdays at 7:15 a.m. Now you have a voice.
Good morning to you. Welcome. This is the Front Page Review on Voice of the People 96.1 FM. Thank you for staying tuned to the station this morning. My name is Gesire.
And I am Simeon Sunday.
All right. We have Mr. Rufai on the phone this morning. Good morning to you and welcome on board. Hello.
Good morning, guys. Bless you guys.
Good morning. Okay, let's head straight to the headlines. Let's talk about Sheikh Gumi, where the federal government has now threatened him with possible arrests based on some statements he has made in the past couple of weeks, leading to the moment of their kidnap of the Kaduna students. What do you have to say about this statement, or in fact the federal government's threat?
Anyway, it's not today Sheikh Gumi has been making those statements. So is it today that government just all of a sudden woke up and called him in for interrogation? It's not today he's saying what he's saying now. If another man said the things Sheikh Gumi says, they'll have been locked, picked up. But because it's Sheikh Gumi now, we know how things work in this country. So we should just do what is right for ourselves. Yeah, he should be picked up. He should be made to... What did you say, Gassi?
You actually said something. You said if it wasn't a Sheikh Gumi, who is a Sheikh Gumi in Nigeria, in Nigerian politics, that he would make a statement and then be left to just roam around freely?
Sheikh Gumi is the same man that tried to bring in a lot of division and bigotry into the army along religious lines. Sheikh Gumi is the same man that has helped, this same government hitherto to get people rescued when they are kidnapped by bandits and all of that. Sheikh Gumi is the one that says, don't worry, I'll go into the bush, give amnesty program to bandits and all of that. So he says this thing and he gets away with it. Anyway, I'm not surprised about this. It's going to be released in no time soon.
It hasn't been arrested yet. It will be invited based on the information.
So he's going to be invited and he's going to be let go. He's going to be let go. But if the question is, if you, Simon Sunday, say half the things Sheikh Gumi said, you'll be arrested and put in incarceration indefinitely. So some people are more equal than some in Nigeria. I mean, let's continue this game, Jerry. For me, it's not a worthy story. I'm sorry.
But we know that he has been invited previously during Buhari's administration. That was
it's not today now. They just invite him, we'll go there, we'll talk a little bit, and then we'll leave him again. And he'll continue saying the things he says. But if you try to say it, or I try to say it, but
truly, Mr. Rufai, looking at what he has said so far, we understand that we cannot equate what is happening, especially with the bandits and what happened with the Niger Delta militants. He has always been calling for amnesty for these guys. And looking at the solution he has preferred, do you think that if we told that route, possibly the government of the day call for amnesty for the bandit? Do you
and I know it won't solve anything? Didn't Aminu Bello Masari, the former governor of what's it called, Kaduna State, openly took pictures with bandits and called for amnesty? They did not start kidnapping the next minute. So what are you saying? It's not going to solve anything. Does Sheikh Gumi have all the groups somewhere put together? There are splinter groups now. There's splinter everywhere, and this is an industry. Only God knows how much has been exchanging hands in this banditry and all of that. So you think they're going to leave that ecosystem? Did you see the video that is viral now about one certain bandit sleeping on money on TikTok?
Yeah, I saw the video.
So you didn't see that. So all of a sudden, you think these people are just going to throw away this industry because they are saying you want to not bring money for amnesty? And in terms of development of this region, didn't they set up a Northeast Development Commission? What have they done with all those money? So let's stop deceiving. You see, the day we are ready to stop deceiving ourselves in this country, we'll move forward. But if we want to deceive ourselves and keep dancing the palongo we are dancing, we should continue. Have a drink on me.
Okay. Well, then again, you also have to argue. You also have to bring into the fore that are the bandits themselves, are they willing? Are they even ready to down tools? Are they ready? You know.
I mean, I've given you empirical, copious facts. Bello Masari thought the bandits were reasonable. He had photo ops. Imagine a state governor having a photo op with an outlaw in the process of peace. It made him look stupid in the end. So what are you saying?
Quite pathetic. Anyway, it's necessary I clear this as well. That video making it around on TikTok, nobody. I've been waiting for official confirmation if truly that was a video of the bandits. But trust social media.
Let's wait for the official confirmation. But they said it was a bandit that was putting what's it called. But it's not today we've been seeing pictures of criminals and showing and flaunting their wealth in this country.
Okay.
So I'm not going to be surprised if we see that.
Okay.
All right. Rufai, you had an interview yesterday with Commodore Kunle Olawumi, a former commandant, Defense Intelligence College, Abuja, yesterday, and he talked about the fact that he couldn't trust any governor except Governor Zulum, who understands his role as the chief security officer of his state. Is there something that Zulum is doing that other governors are not doing to ensure that at least there's a little bit of safety in their state?
I mean, Zulum has shown large amounts of competence and capacity. Can we say the same for other states? I mean, you can see what's happening in Delta. I was in a place sitting with two former governors the other day, and we were talking, and I asked them a question. I said, see, nothing is happening in Delta. If it happens in your state, will they prevent you from going to the site of the issue? They said never. But Sheriff Oborowore was prevented. The governor went to brief the president without even visiting the site. So there are many things that are going on in this country, and you look and you wonder, what set of governors are this one and everything? So if an intelligence officer says that, he has his own reason for saying that.
Okay, you talked about photo op, but let's talk about a video op that happened yesterday. Yesterday we saw the Kaduna State Governor Obasani having a video op with the released 137 students. I asked a lot of questions regarding that particular, streaming of the students. First of all, one question is, why were the faces of these kidnapped children, shown? Some of them are under 8. And also, what information does it pass to the bandits who kidnapped these children in the first place? That the governor can accept them, they nationally televise it. So, which means we can actually go for a bigger target. Maybe this time it could be the president having a video up. So many questions.
The part of the story that kills me the most is the governor not even coming out to tell us if ransom was paid or not. Anyway, they keep denying that ransom was paid or not. But we have built an ecosystem of banditry. So what it means is that these people can just come and pick some people, and the next thing they are sorted out and they're given. And why are we having discrepancies over the numbers in the first place? And when is the unity, the reunion going to be done with their family members, so that we can really ascertain the number of children that were there and the family members, so that we can really know what's going on as regards that. So there's so much, but it's not today we have openly endorsed banditry. We have openly endorsed banditry as a nation, and I'll tell you how. We say one thing, we do the other. We say, we're not going to pay ransom. But all of a sudden, we never see to the arrests or exchange of gunfire of these people when we finally get the chance, even after we rescue our people. We just say we use kinetic or non-kinetic operation and all of that. So we have openly endorsed banditry when people that are criminals and outlaw, Gumi is making a case for them in public. They should give them amnesty too. Amnesty for a known criminal that caused horror and terror to people. So that's the kind of country we've built.
All right. One of the things that caught me in that particular video is when there's an abduction or there's a kidnap going on, right? You have to also look at the mental state of these children. I can't remember how many number of days that they were in captivity for. Should their mental health not have even been prioritized as opposed to this video op?
The photo and video op,
right? It wasn't. Was it necessary? Yes, you released them. Why can't we have that? And you prioritize or focus on the politics of it, ensuring that people are safe, ensuring that this doesn't repeat itself once again. Ensuring that there are no fresh attacks.
I'm sorry, do people have the inclination for mental health in this country? If they had the inclination for mental health, would they even allow them to be kidnapped in the first place? Those children are going to live with trauma for the rest of their lives. But in government's usual way, they have to show off that they were doing something in the first place. So this is reflective of the country we find ourselves. Let's stop deceiving ourselves.
All right, let's move on from insecurity and now focus on Binance, right? The federal government has contacted Interpol and soldiers have been held over Anjarwala's escape from custody. We know that they contacted Interpol and then issued an arrest warrant for the apprehension of one of the detained executives of Binance, Anjarwala. So in this particular, we're seeing it developing and morphing into something way more than it is, because now Interpol is involved because it's said that he has fled the country and gone into another country. While Binance, on the other hand, they're concerned for the safety of their personnel as well, their asset as well. So in this particular situation, isn't it looking like a mess?
It is the reflection of the collective failure of systems. How can somebody you keep in a safe place leave, got a passport, traveled out of the country? So is it that when you arrested him, he didn't put his name on the hot list, and they could track his passport when he presented his passport to border immigration officials? Or how did he leave? Anyway, the government said they've arrested
hello, Mr. El-Rufai.
Charge of keeping him, but speak to you. So all this collective madness that goes on. Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead.
Hello. All right. We'll try to link back with Rufai in a bit, but this particular situation of Binance, right? You have to understand, Simeon. the way situations work, right? You suspect someone, you're filing for tax evasion and all that. Isn't it when the case goes to court and then he has been declared guilty that you can now hold him? Why is it that we're always doing our own security and justice system seems to be, in the opposite way? Why then will you detain, why then would you detain them without obtaining an order from the court?
The truth is, for them to, be detained.
Okay.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Rufai, welcome.
Makes sense, and it doesn't make sense. And it's just a reflection of the systems we have in our country. Yeah, it's just a reflection of the system we have in our country. It doesn't make sense, and it will never make sense. So it just shows we are not ready, largely. We're not ready. Hello?
Could there be something more going on with Binance? Because some people have been saying this is looking like a witch hunt on Binance. So could there be something more? All right. Network seems to be trying to get the better of us at this point in time.
I'm telling you, I just wish he could actually give us some of his closing statements, before we wrap up. But if we can still connect with him, we'll try as much as possible to do that before we get through to Larry Ogrego. But the issue with Binance, it calls for a lot of questions, especially regarding not just the detention, but also the escape of this particular individual.
It just shows we are not ready, guys. It just shows we are not ready. Honestly, did you get that?
Yes,
we got that.
Yes, we got that.
Good.
Okay, before we let you go, I know you need to go right now. Quickly, let's talk about the case in Ondo State, where farmers are now protesting, a late takeover of their farmlands by Chinese firms. This is happening in the Ondo West local government area of the state. This is where they took to the streets to protest this. Now the question is, what is happening? Why is the governor Aiyedatiwa not addressing this issue? And how come a Chinese firm has now taken over their land as it has been leased, according to them, to this Chinese firm?
In a bid to be able to support development, obviously we try to get the Chinese in to be able to facilitate things. So the interest of the local farmers needs to be protected, because you see, apart from the Chinese doing their work, we also need to think of collection. And we also need to think of land appropriation. And the governor, last year's asked of 7 has the so the area we fix problems like that, the better it is for us, so that these people can work in synergy.
Should they not have even been told, like, okay, you own these farmlands, but okay, we're doing this, we're doing that? Should they not have been at least a chain of communication between the government and people as well?
Use act, but there needs to be communication. Land is pretty much vested in the hands of the states, right? But you need a lot of communication to be able to go out there, because you need the land too for expansion and development, but you need area also the people along.
But let's now link this, before you go, with the primaries in the APC that will be happening next month, 25th of April, if I'm not mistaken. What are the chances of Aiyedatiwa? Because today, the APC elders are saying they are going to announce, their candidate today. What chance does Aiyedatiwa stand? Because he wants to go for the same position.
He has an edge. He has an edge of incumbency, but he also needs to play his politics right. Some other contenders like Gumi and a couple of other people in the mix, and this is fluid. And this is the first time you're going to have a real, transference of power after Akeredolu had very strong positions in the states. But now you're having a new man in house. He has the power of incumbency. What can he consolidate? That's also the question. So that will be the next test in a couple of days. But also, let's see how it pans out. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, and have yourself a good day.
Yeah.
Okay, I needed to ask him that, because prior to Akeredolu's death, we saw what happened, where key individuals and officials of Akeredolu's government, immediately he was even the acting governor, most of them resigned their position, not even in the governorship capacity, in acting capacity. And when he became governor, we saw most of the people, and in fact, some APC elders were actually alleging that Aiyedatiwa was bringing in people who are his supporters to man the ends of affair in Ondo State. But looking at it, The primaries is in about a month from now. The election happens almost 4 months after the primaries. Let's see how it pans out for him. If truly,
for the people
if truly they will even hand him the ticket next month. I'm still waiting. Guess you remember I mentioned
for the elders that are going to announce their own candidates today. So let's see how that plays out. But you can join the conversation. It's at Voice of the People Abuja on YouTube. We're live right there on YouTube. Join us, Voice of the People Abuja. And then also you can join our WhatsApp platform
0700 010 hit us up on WhatsApp, call us up as well via the same number. Let's get to fill your pulse. 0700 010 961. Let's take a breather. When we come back, of course, we'll be having our conversation with Lara Gwego, who's on standby.
Meet us on YouTube, Insta, and Twitter at Voice of the People 96.1 FM.
Are you aware that Iruka Online Limited installed and designed a 100,000 capacity church building? Oh yeah, we are the sole distributors of global leading brands all over the world, such as Wafday Line Array, speakers and digital amplifiers, Preseno's digital mixers and studio equipment, Coswell workstations and keyboards, Fender guitars, Mapex drums, Ashdown bass combos, just to mention but a few. We offer flexible payment plan handled by our financial department with 24/7 customer care support system. You can visit our website on www.iruka.com to avoid buying fake products. You can also visit our showroom at number 36 Lagos International Airport Road beside Golden Tulip Hotel. Iruka, never settle for less.
Are you traveling to Lagos and desire a perfect getaway?
Look no further than the luxurious accommodations at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, number 42 Murtala Mohammed International Road, Lagos.
Relax and unwind in our beautiful appointed rooms, featuring all the amenities you need for a comfortable stay.
Now, whether you are traveling for business or pleasure, our attentive staff is here to ensure that your every need is met. We also offer complimentary pick-up and drop from the Lagos airport.
Why not take advantage of our state-of-the-art fitness center, outdoor pool, and enjoy a delicious meal at our on-site restaurant?
With stunning views, world-class service, and a prime location, Airport Golden Tulip Hotel is the perfect choice for your next vacation or business trip.
So why wait? Book your stay today and experience the ultimate in comfort and luxury at Airport Golden Tulip Hotel.
For bookings and reservations, please call 0815-8003-333 or 0815-7003-333. You can visit our website at airportgoldentuliphotel.com.
Airport Golden Tulip Hotel, where luxury meets comfort.
Believe me.
We have been serving you hot and fresh content on radio, and you have been loving it. Now we're taking it further. Catch us live on YouTube at BOP TV for all the juicy content you can't resist. Talk shows, exclusive interviews, news, lifestyle, and more. It's all about you. BOP TV, show up, speak up.
Today's sun is so hot though.
So what are you waiting for? Get the authentic taste of creamy cold berry ice cream. To order online from Gariki, call 090-8831-5907. Guarimpa 090-8831-5909. And Lugbe 090-8845-3416.
Enjoy authentic cold berry ice cream.
Voice of the
People. What law?
The truth is, the federal government of Nigeria do all they can to
leave that like, comment, and share. Okay, try as much as you can to support whatever it is that we're doing here on VOP 96.1 FM. The number to call to be a part of the show is 0700 010 961 961. 0700 010 961 961. Good morning, Mr. Larry, and welcome on board.
Good morning, Gessin, and good morning, Simeon Sunday.
Okay.
It's good to be here with all the controversies about Binance and all of that. Well, we're here.
Anyway, let's start on a lighter note before we get very intense, because there are a lot of issues to address this morning. Let's talk about Senegal quickly, an African country where we saw the major opposition conceding defeat to even though an official election result have not been announced, but the polls have shown that Diomaye Faye is currently in the lead and might be announced as the youngest president in Africa.
44.
If nothing changes in the next couple of minutes or hours. So somebody said we just hope that they don't yak or yan them. I don't know what yan means, but let's talk about it quickly.
Well, I think they probably learned that from our own Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. So for once, I think we can say, okay, we did that before them. That's congratulate your opponent when it's obvious that he's coasting to victory. But that's a win for democracy, not only in Senegal, but in Africa. The turnaround for me was not only very, very interesting, but also like a new dawn for democracy in West Africa, especially looking at the spate of coup d'etat and all of that happening in West Africa. Because I didn't understand why the president wanted to just sit there and probably think of the usual short-term agenda and becoming life president. But thank God for the resilience of the Senegalese and the international uproar. He got to that point where he realized that this wasn't going to work. And I think he put a fast one on the opposition by just announcing the election and doing things. The idea, in my opinion, was probably to do things so quickly that the opposition wouldn't be ready for the pause. But it worked the other way. Remember that these guys, the president-elect and his ally were released just about a week before the election. Yet,
that's
the one on the back of Yes, Soko. Yes, the one on the back of popular support. And for me, that's one lesson Nigerians should learn. I mean, these young people mobilized themselves. Nobody gave them money. Nobody bought their votes. Nobody gave them T-shirts. They didn't need any card readers. Simple process. They just cherished their democracy. I think Nigerians should learn a lesson from the Senegalese. They decided that look, this is the candidate we want, and that's the person we vote for, and that's the person that will lead us. And they chose a young man. You know, here we talk about experience, and this is one thing I want to really help us analyze a little. Some people are saying, oh, he doesn't have experience. He has not been a minister, has not been this and that. But you see, the Senegalese decided that we want a Mr. Clean, a Mr. Fresh. It may be risky in a way, but then, how old was Kennedy? Some people may say, oh, but Kennedy has some experience in US. But then he was leading the world in quotes. And he was less than 40. Now, the point I'm making is very simple. What we call experience in Nigeria, very often, is the wrong kind of experience. So a Nigerian politician tells you, I have the experience, I've been a governor. But you won't check what he did as governor. I have experience, I've been a minister. You won't check his scorecard. I have experience, I've been X this, X that. He won't remind you that he went to jail, he went to EFCC, he went to ICPC, and all of that. And I just want us to realize that we need to learn from the Senegalese. We need to learn how to support good candidates to win elections. We need to learn how to reduce the power and influence of money in politics. We need to learn how to hold down our leaders and force them to do what we want them to do. We need to learn how to control the political cabal that have decided to control us forever. It's a lesson not only for Senegal, but for Nigeria and Africa. And it's a victory for democracy, not only in West Africa, but in the whole of Africa. Okay. I congratulate Senegal.
Okay, anyway, congratulations to them.
I hope the new Mr. President will do well. I pray for him personally.
On a lighter note, Mr. Larry, before we move on to other headlines, you said probably Senegalese are looking for Mr. Clean. The last time we had Mr. Clean was, 8 years ago. And some of actually in our own country, we had Mr. Clean.
Yeah, there's a difference. There's Mr. Clean in Nigeria and Mr. Clean in Senegal may not be the same. The Mr. Clean in Nigeria. So let's not go there.
Mr. Clean Nigeria did Nigeria a great service.
No, Mr. Clean in Nigeria
we're still proud of his achievements 8 years after. Quickly, let's move away from that. Let's talk about the drama, with the government of President Tinubu.
Okay, so yesterday, the story about the AGF, not yesterday now, I mean, it's been in the news for a bit. The story of the AGF, the Accountant General of the Federation, Mrs. Oluwatoyin Madeyi, taking commissioners of finance in the 36 states of the Federation on a workshop in the United Kingdom. This is one thing that has a lot of Nigerians really, really pissed off, and it's coming at the time where Nigerians, the masses, are enduring years of harrowing hardship, especially from the previous administration moving into this, and hoping that the renewed hope agenda is going to be different from what we've seen, in recent times, right? A lot of Nigerians were thinking that this particular government would bring succor to their economic woes. But while Nigerians are tightening their belts and waiting patiently, hoping for a better economy in the nearest future, we're seeing government officials appearing unperturbed by what exactly is going on. Because why will you carry a workshop for finance ministers here in Nigeria? You didn't even take on businesses here in Nigeria. You go to the hotels in Nigeria. You didn't do anything within Nigeria. You took it all the way to the United Kingdom. Is there something that they are meant to learn there? You see the amount of waste. When you look at the Esther codes, when you look at a lot of things, you begin to wonder, are these people even sensitive to what Nigerians are going through? Isn't this why we're seeing banditry occurring in Nigeria, where government officials who are seeing the economic woes of the country but are turning a blind eye and a deaf ear to it and doing whatever it is that they're trying to do?
Well, we have a culture of doing anything we want to do and getting away with it. And we also have a population that seems to appreciate people who do what is wrong. We have become a very vain society. So how do we know who is successful in Nigeria? How often you travel to UK? How often you travel to US? And we don't care how you travel.
Hello.
At the end of the day, we all pay for that attitude where we applaud people for doing the wrong thing. That's one of the things that we must begin to think about. There was a time a group of governors were holding meetings all over Europe, and we didn't complain. At least we didn't complain loud enough. We have created that culture where we waste resources deliberately, even if it's your own money. I think we need to begin to promote what belongs to us. First of all, public buildings and offices have conference rooms. They hold these meetings in advanced countries all the time. They don't go to hotels. So even going to a hotel most of the time is driven by corruption, because go and check the records, money exchanges hands. But let us even assume that you want a retreat. Now, sometimes executives may need a retreat. They need to get away from the office environment so they can focus on all of that. So what happened to places like Obudu? What happens to the fantastic hotels in Nigeria? So why can't we even showcase our own hospitality facilities for others to come to? The Nigerians always go to South Africa, to UK for some of these their retreats. So how many times have we heard about South Africans coming to Nigeria? How many times have we heard about people from Ghana coming to Nigeria or UK? Because we don't even value what we have. And I think we need to begin to punish such behavior, because if Mr. President is serious about saving money, the ministers should be sanctioned. And I'm not mincing words about it. Unless we hold up people and sacrifice them and show that this is not acceptable anymore, it's just mere talk. We need to get to that point where we sanction people who behave irresponsibly. And for those commissioners that followed her on that gallivant, they are also equally guilty, because they wasted state funds. And I'm sure they are happy. They were clapping for themselves. It's a free holiday. Oh, let's go and shop in UK and have fun at the expense of Nigerians. And I'll also tell you that's why Nigerians have lost confidence in their leadership. I heard you discussing Binance. The truth is that the problem is not just whether Binance is right or wrong. The problem is that people are so upset with the way our leaders behave that we don't even think about Nigeria as a nation anymore. So almost anything our leaders do is considered wrong, whether it's true or false. We just consider them as somewhat irresponsible. And it is this kind of behavior that colors our thought processes. So even when they are doing something that is not wrong, we assume they are wrong because they are mostly wrong. I mean, it doesn't make sense. But what I'm waiting for is Mr. President to sanction that minister, and for the governors to query the commissioners and ask them, so why did you go to UK? If the minister says you must go to UK, must you go? You are not a minister of the Federal Republic. You're a minister, you're a commissioner for the state, and he didn't pay for your ticket to go to UK. And how did governors approve that trip? So we have a conspiracy of the elites. We have the conspiracy of the political elites who waste our resources for their personal gain, and we tolerate it. We still tolerate it. We actually applaud them. We say, oh, it's a blessing. They are doing well. God has blessed them. God has made a way for them. We even put God in all of this very dishonorable behavior. They go to church and they testify, and people clap for them. We need to get to that point where we don't just call them out on radio. We call them out everywhere. So if they come to church and say, I have a testimony, after the testimony, the pastor or the priest should say, so why couldn't you hold that meeting here? I mean, we get to that place where we reject that kind of behavior. We're not doing that enough.
Mr. Larry, we have a situation here where government officials that were either appointed by the federal government, the president, or as staff of the federal government or of the civil service, right? We have situations where they hold this mantra as the renewed hope agenda. They hold it as sort of like, I don't know what to call it, but it's held up in the air as something that we all should look up towards or aspire towards or work towards to ensure that the renewed hope agenda is really comes into fruition. So when we have situations like this where ministers who are aware of the president's renewed hope agenda, because in that agenda there is reduction of cost of governance, right? In that agenda it is there, reduction of the cost of governance. Is it possible that there's a disconnect somewhere between the president, what he says, what his electees, is it electees now, what the people he has put in office, what they are doing and what he's saying? Is there a disconnect there somewhere?
I wouldn't want to call it a disconnect. I think the problem is obvious. Mr. President is not walking the talk, so they can also walk away from the talk. That is the problem. If Mr. President goes to COPs with hundreds of people, some say 1,000, above 1,000, and then if Mr. President says this is the limit of the number of people I will travel with, and then he travels with more than the number of persons, I think we have a problem here where they don't take Mr. President seriously, basically because they can see that the Nigerian political system is still at work, where it's an opportunity. I mean, when you are appointed or you win an election, it's an opportunity. This is our turn mentality still at work. So though Mr. President may have made statements about the renewed hope, about cutting the cost of governance, they are watching him too. And since they have not seen any sign that he's cutting governance on his own part, since they have not seen a reduction in the bill of hospitality in Asorok Villa, they have not seen reduction in there's practical reduction in bills. They have not seen practical steps he has taken, starting from his own office in the presidency to reduce costs. They are following his example. That's what I think. Because once Mr. President adjusts and it becomes clear that he wants to save costs, bros, everybody will fall in line. If you don't fall in line, you are playing games at the risk of your job. But as long as Mr. President is just talking, they will also just be listening.
Okay.
That's how it works.
And anyway, let's move away from that quickly and let's talk on other issues affecting us as a nation. Let's talk about the report that the federal government has now arraigned a man who accused Fashola of writing presidential tribunal judgment. This is on the Punch newspaper today. And according to the report, a man by the name Chike Ibezim has been arraigned by the federal government for defaming former Minister of Work and Housing Babatunde Fashola, and the federal government has arraigned him in a court here in Abuja Federal Court on a 6-count charge. Remember, prior to the moment when a decision was made at the Supreme Court of Nigeria during the political tussle among several political parties, the PDP, APC, Labour Party and the likes, especially after the announcement of the election results. We saw a statement 2023 to be precise. We saw a statement where one individual accused Fashola of being the one writing the official tribunal statement. And of course, this went viral. Even several news platforms carried it. But now the federal government has now arraigned him for what they claim is defaming the former Minister of Works and Housing. What do you have to say about this case against this young man?
I think we need to begin to be careful about the allegations we make. Like I said, Nigerians consider the political class irresponsible. We consider them largely corrupt and inept. We consider them as people who engage in sharp practices. However, it's actually dangerous to make pronouncements or statements in public space about things you cannot substantiate. Sometimes I make statements that people wonder, even you ask me, that's a weighty allegation. You'll be surprised that the things I say, I actually have proof. What I mean, somebody pushes me, if you take me to court, because I'm aware that we have courts. Apart from criminal defamation, apart from criminal trial, people can sue you for defamation, that is personally. So we need to be careful how we talk in Nigeria. We talk anyhow. In fact, by and large, we abuse freedom of speech in Nigeria too much. But then that is also one of the things that ventilates democracy, and the law is there for people who feel that they have been treated unfairly. However, I think we also need to get to that point where we ask ourselves, should we criminalize defamation? I mean, most of the world actually don't criminalize defamation. In most democracies, if somebody feels that his character has been injured, you sue the person. In this case, Fashola would have taken out an action against that person, not necessarily drag the person to court. Because one of the things I've noticed is that the rich actually use the criminal defamation weapon against the poor. You've seen cases of like the billionaire who had a spat with one lady, the billionaire man that marries a series of women. I think he had this problem and somebody was remanded. So quite a few cases of being remanded on the basis of criminal defamation. The governor in Cross River State sometime he remanded a journalist. We should also look at that clearly. Should we continue criminalizing? Shouldn't we just let it be a civil matter where if I feel that you've told a lie against me that damaged or injured my reputation, I should take you to court? I don't think we should leave those windows open that will enable people to be treated in a way that we can say they are being victimized. However, if we insist that we must criminalize defamation, then we have to have very strict standards and very clear lines between defamation that should be treated in a civil manner and defamation that should be treated in a criminal manner. It's sad, but then I must also caution Nigerians to be careful how they speak. You can't sit in your home and conjure information. However, if he has proof that indeed the judgment was within my Fashola, this is the time to bring the information onto the public domain so that we all see how he got that information. This is also a pointer to people who write anything anyhow. I don't think it's healthy personally. I don't think it's healthy. We should be careful about the information we put out because people work hard to earn their reputation. We shouldn't just destroy it because we have opinions or perceptions. And a little digression. I hope I will also have just a minute or two to say one or two critical things about the Binance situation, because I noticed speculation about legal issues. And since we're also discussing a legal issue, and if you permit me, I will explain a few things about how the law works in connection with Binance. Number one is that if a person is arrested as a suspect, the person legally shouldn't run away from the law.
Very true.
That is important. That you don't have to be convicted. Once a person is suspected and the person is arrested, the person should explain his or her position to the law. You don't abscond and run away. The second thing I want to point out is that we were informed that they obtained a leave of court, a magistrate court in the first instance, to detain them for 14 days.
14 days, yes.
Which is the provision of the law. And then subsequently, another leave at permission of the High Court to detain for another 14 days. So they will not interfere with dispensation of justice. If a court in Nigeria gave permission for them to be detained, it means that the detention was legal. I think we need to clear those things. In as much as we have a government we do not trust, we need to understand there are laws in Nigeria. We also need to moderate our sympathy for Binance, because Sheng Pansao, they call him Caesar, the CEO of Binance, actually pleaded guilty for money laundering related charges and all of that in the United States. And Binance has a 4.3 billion judgment in the US. So they have, if you permit me to use that expression, a history of breaking the rules. They have admitted that much in the United States. So if Nigeria is saying they broke some rules here, I don't think, I know we don't like our leaders and the way they do business. I know we have this bias that our leaders are irresponsible and our leaders are lawless. Our leaders are these people, call them all kinds of names. But the truth is that sometimes we can't actually hold them accountable if they are following due process. I mean, in the case of Binance, I think we are bashing the government for nothing. I mean, if you are doing transactions, for instance, we pay VAT on our financial transactions in banks. So if you do transactions with cryptocurrency, you should pay VAT too. I mean, you can't shortchange us and walk away because your name is Binance or because you're a foreigner. So we need to get to that point where we understand what the law says about specific situations. If they go to Interpol, it is because they know that there is a basis. If there was no legal basis, they can't be discussing with Interpol. He actually absconded from legitimate detention. So they have a right to pursue him. However, the charge is against Binance and those executives. So even if he disappears to Mars, the charges go on. So I just felt that legal matters sometimes are not common sense. There are parameters for dealing with legal matters. Yes, I mean, it's not an emotional thing about whether they are right or wrong. If the law says you are a suspect, then the law has provisions and a framework for managing suspects. These things are clearly detailed. So if he's in legitimate detention and is detained in a guest house, which shows that we are moving towards civilization, and I hope we can extend the same nice treatment to Nigerians. I hope it's not because they are from $1 billion business that they are being detained in guest house and being given certain privileges to go and pray, which one of them abused and walked away. So I think we need to also understand that, yes, if people do the crime, they should be made to do the time. But if they prove to the law that there is no crime, they should walk away. And they should sit down here and prove to the law that they didn't do any crime, rather than abscond. From Nigeria. I think we need to set that record straight.
All right. Well, you can join the conversation on YouTube. It's at Voice of the People Abuja. Leave your comment and we'll get to them shortly. But do go ahead and leave your comments on our YouTube and WhatsApp. On WhatsApp platform, it's at 0700 010 961 961 0700 010 961 961. Uju Oshimiri on YouTube says, I don't know what else to use to compare Nigeria. Uju, we need more information on this comment.
On that particular comment, I don't know which you are reacting to.
Uju is exasperated. She's just exasperated. That's the truth.
Anyway, thank you, Mr. Larry, for making further clarification, especially the legal angle to the abscondment of Nadeem one of Binance executive. Let's move away from that particular story and let's talk about this one that has to do with Godswill Akpabio. And, and some individuals, especially chieftains of the APC, are now warning Nigerians trying to pull down Senator Godswill Akpabio, saying they should stop the campaign of calumny against Akpabio. This is what the APC chieftain Emmanuel Mbubre is saying. And also, looking at that side by side with statements made by Senator Garba Musa, who is from Kebbi State. He actually accused the leadership of the National Assembly, especially the Senate, that if nothing is being done about its mode of operation, the Senate might lose its respect and dignity, and of course, turning the Senate to rubber stamp. So looking at this statement, a senator currently in the floor of the House, Kebbi State, is saying the Senate might soon turn rubber stamp because of the way it's operating. And of course, in a way, some saying pointing finger to the Senate president. And someone else is saying, stop this campaign of calumny. Stop saying these things about the Senate president. When you put this side by side, Mr. Larry, what do you make out of it?
I've been using the expression automatic stamp. I believe I've graduated from rubber stamp, the automatic stamp already. Yeah. The person who is saying that they may become a rubber stamp is being nice because he's part of the Senate. I think it's important that we understand that it's also not an Akpabio affair alone. The senators are all in it together. When they share money, they don't tell us. When it gets bad and they quarrel, they tell us. They don't tell. Apart from Ningi, nobody told us before now that we had such scandalous things going on. But I also want to give simple advice to Akpabio. One of the things, in fact, the major virtue that sustained Daniel in the Bible, I don't have a better analogy, so I'll use the Bible. I know that people may not, a few persons may not understand that, but the virtue that sustained Daniel is that he knew that he was surrounded by naysayers and enemies, in quote. So he had a spirit of excellence. He decided that he wouldn't do anything wrong. And it was simple. He survived on the basis of not doing anything wrong. People have always said that, Southern Senate presidents almost always get removed from office. Northern Senate presidents flourish and survive even when they do anything in their life. While I don't support that kind of attitude, if it's true that they are haunted so that they will be removed, I'm also asking Southern Senate presidents to up their game. You can't be removed or accused or witch-hunted if you don't give the person something to do it with. So I think the problem we have is that they all swim in this mud, but when somebody they don't like is the leader, they will also come out from the mud and accuse the person of swimming in the mud. So I begin to ask myself questions like, isn't it possible for Akpabio to up the ante? They are now giving him license to do better. So can't he just do better? That is also one of the ways to look at it. If he does much better, then they won't have any basis to be telling these stories. But if he gives license to them to talk about him and persecute him, then they will do that. So I think he needs to up his game.
All right. So, it's been raining, especially in Anambra, and we saw a video. This is in wrapping up, in closing, right? We saw a video that popped up on a road that was recently constructed by the governor of the state. It was like, when you boil rice and the under of the pot burns, and then you soak it in water, and then you try to scrape that part out. So it looked like that. Let's unfortunately, Mr. Larry, you can't see the video, but for the sake of our listeners and the viewers as well, we'll take that and then just get your comment real quickly on that story.
It's on. Mr. Larry can check it out on YouTube at the moment, if you can.
Yes. I think it's important that sometimes I get worried about even the obsession with the way we celebrate simple things. The way we first of all, we do things, sometimes we do them well, sometimes we don't do them well. But very often the celebration of the project even eclipses the project itself. Sometimes even the projects that are not necessarily the best we can get are so celebrated, and it gets me worried. For instance, I'll just say this in person. The governor of Anambra State, I applaud him for doing his rural development, but I don't like the concept of spending taxpayers' money, so much money, to show live coverage of commissioning of projects. I've said it repeatedly. Governors should stop wasting our money. I don't see why you should get 3 television houses to cover the commissioning of a road. I mean, the people you copy democracy from, they don't commission roads like that. Okay. They don't even commission roads at all. They just do the roads. The person who is enjoying the road will know that this road wasn't here. Now it's here. But because they do so little, they will spend so much money to convince us they are doing much more. And it's distasteful. If you know how much they pay these television houses, this is money that can be better used to empower the people. Sometimes I want to watch television. You tune to all the major television channels. They are showing the same miserable project, and somebody paid for it. Okay. That madness should stop.
Okay, thank you so much.
It doesn't make sense at all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Larry. You know, seeing that particular video, Gessi, it seemed to me like they used water glue and then used black paint to roll on top of it. Because the way it just went off, it just
the road
like
came off. I've given you the perfect description when you are.
Yes, I think I know the video you are talking about now. Okay, yeah,
it's really pathetic. Thank you so much, Mr. Larry, for coming on board.
Yeah, it's my pleasure and my privilege. Do have a great day. And like I've always said, I hope they are listening to the voice of the people. Because it's not just about the radio station, it's about the voice of the people coming through this station.
Thank you so much, and have yourself a wonderful day.
You too.
Okay, it's time for us to officially, step aside for the sports gang to be here to bring you some of the updates in the world of sports in the next 30 minutes. Of course, I'll be back, myself and Gessi, at 9 o'clock, bringing you the news around Abuja and some other new business updates as well. So ensure you stick around, don't move a muscle, and of course, don't tune the frequency away from 96.1 FM.
We've got Sports Beat coming up at 8:30. Make sure you keep it locked right here. Thank you so much. Let's do this again tomorrow, 7:15 sharp, for the front page review. But the morning ride starts all the way from 6:30. Do keep it locked right here and make sure that it's a date. Gesere Agua is my name.
Simeon